Hi, in my YouTube channel recently I've talked about thermal images quite a bit. I've got to try 3 of them so far, 2 which I managed to borrow, and then from that I decided which one to buy, which was this. It's the Pulsar Helicon XP50 Pro, and I've been pleased enough with it. It's a revelation. It does help you to find subjects you're going to photograph, but I bought it online, so I didn't get to see and handle it before it came, and when I opened the box, I have to say I was a little bit put off because it's much bigger than I thought it would be. That does not fit in any of my coat pockets, and that just means it's not with me all of the time. When I want to carry it, I have to put it in this pouch. It goes over your shoulder, and it means it's just not with you. And when suddenly you want to find something, it's just not there. So I've been thinking about whether I could buy one that's physically smaller, and a friend of mine recently did buy one. It's the same sensor, so it's a 640 by 5112 pixel sensor, and it's much smaller. So as my friend was raving about it, I got in touch with Thomas Jacks, who are the importers for lots of thermal imagers, including Pixfra and Pulsar, and they very kindly sent me one for a couple of weeks to try it out. And this is it. It's a Pixfra ARC A613. That's the model number. The 13 refers to the lens. It's a very wide-angled lens, and interestingly it's promoted as being suitable for ecologists. It doesn't say birdwatchers, just ecologists, and that's been something I've been thinking about while I've had this one. I reckon most thermal imagers are designed for hunting. Those are the people that are making most use of them, and their subjects are perhaps further away than the subjects that I tend to be looking for. And I have noticed that when I'm using this, I have to keep sweeping backwards and forwards because it's like I've got a telephoto effect, and to cover the land around you, you've got to sweep it all over the place. Having a wide-angled lens, I kept thinking, would be an advantage. So now I've got it. This is a much wider field of view, but also look at the size of it. It's just 6 inches long, fits in my coat pocket easily. Weight wise, that's 390 grams versus 622 grams I think it is for the Pulsar, so a lot lighter and a lot more compact. It fits into the palm of your hand lovely as well, with a tiny little strap on it here, and there's just no weight to that. When I'm walking along, I'm not really aware that I'm carrying it. Just like the Pulsar, you can adjust the viewfinder for your eye, the diopter setting, and you also can focus the front lens too, but you don't need to. I found that if I set it up at medium sort of distance, it's covering me most of the time. You've got to get to something very close before you need to start changing the focus. Now I am really appreciating this extra field of view, this wide angle effect to it, but I guess there will be times when that is a disadvantage, and the Pulsar would be better with its more of a medium telephoto lens. If you're looking at something that's 100 meters or more away, then more of a telephoto lens will be useful. But the majority of the time as a bird watcher, I'm looking at things much closer, 20 to 30 meters away, and this means I haven't got to keep scanning up and down in sort of blocks to try and find things. In fact, I can remember trying one out up in the Cairngorms. We were looking for mountain hares. It was snow everywhere, a whiteout, and used the thermal imager, and we could see a heat source 100 meters away, which was almost certainly a hare. We started to walk towards it, and what we hadn't seen, there was one about 20 meters in front of us just lying down in the snow, and we missed that. And with this wide angle, we'd have probably got that one. But they both probably have their advantages and disadvantages. Ideally, of course, you'd have an optical zoom, but as far as I know, there aren't any thermal imagers with optical zooms. It does have a digital zoom, and it's very easy to operate. I just press this back button and it zooms to 2 times or 4 times or 8 times, then back to normal again. But an optical zoom is clearer, and that's what you'd ideally want. Perhaps that will come in the future. The battery in here is supposed to last 6.5 hours. I can't say it has done. It was almost flat this morning and I haven't used it anything like 6.5 hours, maybe 3 hours at the most, and I doubt I even got to 3 hours, but I have been going through the menus an awful lot during that time, so perhaps that uses up more battery, I don't know. But there is 2 batteries with it, so once the battery goes flat you can just change it and put another one in. It's very quick to do, just slips out the back. I am finding the menus easier to use than the Pulsar. Most of these thermal cameras seem to be laid out the same with a set of buttons along the top, and it is a bit fiddly going through the menus. It's quite easy to connect it to your mobile phone, and once you've done that it's easier to change settings on your mobile phone than through these buttons, but I'm not finding it too difficult to go through the buttons. The buttons are quite simple to use, and remember, at the front you have an on-off button. The second one in, if you press that briefly, it takes a stills picture. If you press it and hold it, it starts the video running, and when you want the video to stop, you press and hold it again. The next one in, if you just press it quickly, it changes the color palettes, and you've got a range of options on the color palettes, whereas if you press and hold it, it goes into the main menus. And then finally the one at the back, that is your digital zoom. So you keep pressing that and it will go to 2 times, 4 times, 8 times and back to normal, which is 1 times, just cycles through them. Very noticeable that the price of thermal viewers is coming down quite rapidly. You can pick this up for £1,360 approximately, and this is for the higher end of the consumer market with a pixel count of 640 by 512. That's always been regarded as high. You can go higher, but they become very expensive, so they're getting cheaper and cheaper. This also has a rangefinder built into it, which could be very useful, because when you're looking through here, you see a heat source, you then look with your eyes, you can't see it. You have no idea what distance it's at. Now, it's not a proper rangefinder, it's called a Stadia Matric. I'll put the name up on the screen here because I don't know how you pronounce that. It's a very crude rangefinder, but it will put you in the right ballpark as to what distance you are. Let's have a quick go at it. These sheep are about 30 meters away from me. So you go into the menu, and using the buttons on each side of the menu button, you scroll down and you come to this symbol. And you press the menu button to select it. You get these 4 symbols on the left hand side and 2 green lines. Now, using the 2 buttons on the other side of the menu button, you can change the width of those green lines. So we need to make it narrower until it's fitting the size of the sheep, about like that. Now, a wild boar, which is the second symbol up, is about the same size as a sheep, and it says it's 34 meters away, which is accurate enough, but not a feature I'm likely to use very often. We'll quickly look at the colour palettes. You just press the 1 button on the top and you cycle through them. I tend to use white hot occasionally, black hot occasionally, but this is my favourite alarm. That's the one that I'm normally using, so it's red. I like this little strap that it comes with. It makes it a nice fit around your hand. I'm not so keen on this lens cap. It's made of rubber and it sort of pushes in. It doesn't feel very secure. I can well imagine that falling off, which is perhaps why it's on a bit of cord, and then as you're walking along that's just dangling, and that irritates me. It's flapping about. Not so keen on that. And just some Canada geese out on the water. It definitely works better when the weather is cooler. So this is quite early in the morning. As the day warms up, it gets worse. Here's some ducks just on the shoreline. Now, all this red in the foreground is tarmac. The rest of it is grass, but the tarmac is glowing red, and that caravan as well. That's the sort of thing you get a lot of heat from. But there are some jackdaws and some rabbits on the grass in the background, and they're moving, so you know that's an animal of some sort. Same here, we've got a couple of coots swimming about on the water. It doesn't come with a tripod mounting hole, but you can fit an extra bracket to it, which comes with it in the box. Then you can fit a tripod to it. It also comes with an external battery charger for both batteries, although you can charge up the battery in the camera as well. And very oddly, in the menus, you cannot format the memory card that's built into the camera. You can only do that when you're connected to the computer to get rid of the old pictures and videos. Strange omission, that. So am I going to buy it? I haven't decided yet. I've got it for another week to play around with it, but I'm very impressed with it. Its main advantage, it's so lightweight, it's so compact, it's in my pocket, it's going to be with me most of the time, and that is very important. You can have all the gear, but you've got to have it here. Thanks for watching.